Hey, welcome. This is for Aries, this reading here. And I just want to say welcome to Navajo Sage Weaver Tarot's channel. I appreciate your energy, your subscription, and your likes. I appreciate it. Um, kind of trying to find my own way of speaking through or using tarot. And so I have combined it for different tarot to get more of a expander story. And so this story is for the energy of Aries. So you may resonate with Aries, the fire sign. Might be dealing with somebody. However, you may not. That's good too. Um, just want to say, don't force any tarot reading. This is, for entertainment. So I'm going to shake the gourds and to move the energy. Sorry about the background. All right. So I already pulled the cards that I wanted to read for Aries. I have some cards over here. Oops. That I want to pull and an archetype or two. So, all right. um, so I want to say Aries. So from the storyline that I'm getting here is that, this is, like dealing within yourself, right? So when you're dealing within yourself, you have two conscious, right? One that's, you know, has this like um right and wrong, this polar negative and positive. And so dealing with ourselves sometimes, can cause a lot of conflict within ourselves, self-doubt, and um so I see that, sometimes, you know, when you want to create, right, grow an idea and you're going through these stages in our lives that we go through, we have some sort of, I don't want to say turmoil, but this kind of energy that kind of makes us stop and kind of reflect on our being, and so this here at the beginning of the story, I see that, this reflecting on your being, right? You know, maybe Aries has some sort of meditation, sometimes the shadow side comes out, right? But when we start moving those thoughts, right? Moving the idea of like whether we self abuse our being, you know, even just saying, God, that was just dumb, um, that, you know, goes into our conscious and, and some sort of illusion becomes under that, right? And so that's what I'm seeing is this like working in that shadow energy. And then here, you know, um, coming through this, like, sometimes like working in the shadow, sometimes, you can birth stuff, you can create things, like some people are really good at that, working in that aspect and helps him move forward, So um maybe there was some seeing that right through meditation, through your, fighting whatever you were trying to maybe, you know, let go, or, maybe self-reflect on something, and, growing growing out of that, you know. And so, here, right, in meditation, you go within yourself, right? Rebirthing, um, coming to that mindset, trying to figure out, find balance within yourself, the shadow side of you, you know, Aries comes out, right? Looking within, however that is, right? Walking through, you know, and then coming out the other side here, you know, um, with the Seven of Pentacles, this person that's in its work clothes, working hard, but coming out of it in a beautiful way, right? And then, um, and during that time, Aries, that self grow within yourself, your inner being, maybe there was people around you, you know, and maybe they help you see, see those things that sometimes we need to see, so that way we can grow, sometimes it's hard, you know, and then, you know, um, when you started, seeing those things, right? Then you started seeing, your Seven of Pentacles. Then you have Three of Pentacles right there. Then, here you have the Ten of Pentacles. So you're working towards that, you know, your goals, your idea of why you want to be here on this, this earth at this time, what you value in your life, whether it's, having family, or, having this, however you, have this concept of like what your Ten of Cups would be, but working within those shadow times, even the devil here, and then, like when working in it, right? Sometimes the it feels like this, like running through this mud, or this energy that's just like pulling you, and you're, fighting really hard, you know, and your inner child like is, working, and, and you're working on yourself, because you have this plan, but these things here, these shadow things here, sometimes, causes stagnation, right, in our journey, and can put you in a place of like, yeah, the outside, right, can look beautiful, you know, but working and going towards whatever you're working to, working to, you know, it really can challenge your character sometimes, challenge those emotions that come in, but here, you got this, you know, this swirl of rainbow here, and even though it was this, this looking within, starting that idea, that seed, having to work through the shadows, going within, and having your inner child, grow. And yeah, it's tough, it's hard work to work for those pentacles, It's not easy to get 10, your 10 of Pentacles, your 10 of Cups, And so Spirit is here is like, trying to, help you, like, not, get stuck in that, because you can hurt yourself, you can do things to your being that's not, good, and it's hard to get out of that, negativity. And, so once that happens for you, right, wherever you are in this storyline, your journey, there's this reflection of looking back, because you're working through it, right? Your inner child, yeah. When we work on ourselves, it's not going to be an easy, straightforward, we might think it is at sometimes, but then, you know, the creator has something else and, pulls us back even more. And it's like, whoa, how can I, move forward, like, how can this phase end fast? Sometimes we have that idea, and walking away, like, maybe, looking back, you know, spirit, see the birds here as messengers, and then, here's this, being here looking back at, how hard it was. Yeah, it is hard, but then you tell yourself, I am making it, crossing the finish line, right? This can be a finish line right there with the flags, because I walked away. I wasn't, maybe this was, the devil here, maybe this was something that, you finally said, that's it. No, I'm not going to be tempted, and maybe it felt, maybe it felt good. Maybe it was, walking away from something, people, places, or things, there's, like, looks like confetti and like some sort of party, like, however that, celebration for you to make yourself feel, like trying to feel a whole, when we want to not work on our inner selves, and it's hard because sometimes it can be beautiful, right? It can, and so after you do that, you let it go and walk away, and then spirit comes in and, you know, whatever, you were working on, right? Whatever those pentacles, it's like, here, they manifest now. Now, you know, you're not, in this negative spot here, right? You're not in this spot here where you're feeling the shadow, you know, trying to be influenced, um, and you feel free at this time, and then, you got spirit here, it's like, oh, you got good, healthy choices, right? What's healthy choices when you let go of something that maybe made you feel, like you didn't want to face any of these inner characters, emotions, because that's what we have as humans, we only have these things, senses, um, speak, the way we talk, like, and uh, what we can, draw out, create, produce, and then here, when you find that, that balance, right? You find that balance, you pick a choice, it's like here, that oyster will appear, whatever your inner, your inner, being pushing, you know, worked hard, had to walk away, it was hard, now, spirit tears like rewarding you in a way, and you're no longer this pain, you're this king, inner, your inner being, your inner child is like, finally growing, and maybe it was hard for you, right? Because you placed judgment, within yourself, it had to be this way, it had to be this way. Once you finally maybe release some sort of like belief, like maybe it was finally like it probably easier to kind of let go of that, um, and because you had the sun right here, those, spirits like, your ancestors, they're like led back here, um, saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, this is your time, at this present moment, right? Aries, like, let go of that judgment, enjoy yourself, we have your back. We always have your back. Just have to believe in yourself, believe that you can start something, right? Believe you can go through those doors, come out and produce something, right? Or collaborate with others. Yeah, you have those shadow attributes, and then creating the Ten of Pentacles, but you're not gonna get it just like that. You're gonna have to do some work, and then when you do it, right, you start, letting some stuff go, you can reflect on back on that, but seeing what you walked away, picking that choice because it's going to be that beautiful oyster, and then your inner self is going, growing, you know, and learning, because you're doing that inner reflective, and yeah, it's hard because now you're like at this maybe stage of like placing that judgment, but once you let that idea go, right, you get the sun right here, and then you have this beautiful, two emotion dance, right? This loving within yourself right here, finally accepting, both that balance, both your positive and negative attribute, and then having and being able to see those growth, and seeing, like God, whatever the hard feeling, whatever that hard, work within myself, like Aries, right? It's beautiful to look back on, maybe reflecting on some, childhood images here, because now your inner being has grown to that magician here, you're growing up and you're learning how to see those, those characteristics, those behaviors that you have, and you're learning how not to you're learning to look at those cups, right? That you see, that you had to walk away in a different way, instead of like being so angry about it, like you can probably be this king or this magician, right? And tear it down, but now you're like, no, my inner child has to look at it, but you have spirit here, saying now you can look at it, reflect on it, and let it go, And then when you do that, right? When you start doing that, start putting that bubble around you, all those things, those whatever were, whatever communication you don't want, right? Whatever um things that you don't want to be bothered by, you're like your inner self is gonna let because you got the sun above. And you're not looking that way anymore. You're not looking at any of these, So and then once you turn away, right? Once you turn away from that, those what do you call that? Those desires, right? Then, the Seven of Wands turn into this beautiful Five of Wands, this celebration, this collaboration of what, we started with the Three of Pentacles, and then, you know, maybe there was seven, right? Seven people in your life, right? That were, maybe trying to get your attention, and you just like, I can't, I got to heal myself at this time, and it's hard, sometimes it's hard to isolate yourself. Sometimes it's hard to know when people need that space if they don't say it, right? But when you do, when you finally, that person, when they allow that person to be in that space, then there's just like people start seeing, so maybe out of seven of these five, are starting to see you, Aries, in this beautiful, celebration, somebody, and so now here you're at this like emerging of the ace of emotion, like coming out of your coming out of it in a completely beautiful, being, So yeah, so that's what I got from, like from the deck I've been, meditating and kind of like wanting to get a story. So I'm gonna pull a couple out, archetype, So I'm gonna say, um, whatever, whatever it is, maybe we can pull an archetype of like maybe what Aries is, maybe you're dealing with, or maybe that's your own who you are, So the guide here, here's the light attribute. The light attribute tells us, it represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. So maybe you are, starting to become somebody like this, or maybe you're dealing with somebody that you're watching, go through this storyline, or, you know, or you see the shadow attribute through the storyline, shadow attribute here, place financial gain and control over empowering spirit, impairing spirituality insight. So maybe you're seeing that, maybe this is the, the shadow attribute, you know, having that, watching, maybe watching somebody, get, gain on your own finances, right? And trying to control you, right? So you're maybe Aries, you're at this place of like, I'm done. I'm done being micromanaged. I'm done being controlled, I'm trying to, want to be this, divine self for you, you know? So you're trying to be a guide, maybe your guide is talking to you. Somebody is, being a guide for you, right? You know, Danceful. So the light attribute, is the understanding and nature of healthy romance, inspires you to rely on yourself. And the shadow attribute is, waiting for the night to provide, I'm sorry, for you. Seduction by romantic illusion. So, maybe there's some attribute in that to, the, you know, to whatever, character, you want to put in there, And so, yeah, so we have that here. Oh, and then I got this new deck, and it is called the Faeries Oracle. And I meditated with it, and I wanted to make sure it was ready to be used, and so it showed me it was it's beautiful. So I'm gonna pull a couple and to see what they have to say. You know, what they're So we have the Piper, and then we have like the Oak King, the oops. Oh, no, no. So the way these fairies are coming in is just, somebody who is, like maybe, bringing in, some sort of like music to connect, right? To find a way to connect with your higher being, a masculine maybe, you know, trying to do some seduction, right? There was this uh, dismal, attribute here, so maybe there's some sort of like love seduction in some way, however, seduction is for people because doesn't have to be more romantic, but here it says romantic, um, using that, um, using somebody, right? It said that she's waiting for the night to provide for her, but she will use her seduction to use it, so maybe there's some sort of like, illusion and there's like, you know, awareness of it, right? So you have the, you know, the the tea lion, coming in and, showing itself in a way that, is, coming in like, peeking through, and then um you have this, God, Godwitch, maybe, seeing and, like getting close to, this, you know, looking at this, within, right? Looking at it from a different, these creatures or these fairies here, they're like more of a like within yourself, there's this, you know, a different layer of, the way we see maybe, this illusion of life, right? So there's these, creatures here, coming in and, trying to figure out like, okay, we're working with or we're working with or we are these attributes here. And so we're coming in this way with these fairy energy because there are deeper within ourselves, um and letting go, it's letting go of those aspects, of who are who our creatures are, what what we would consider, because we never really we can see, ourselves, but we can't really see like that negative self, but we can see what people portray to us, if they're having a bad day, but if we're having a bad day, we can't see that, so, maybe there's this like finding this within, within yourself, Aries, and getting close to that. Maybe it's a little bit, scary to look at. And you have the Oak King here, the energy, it's like, it's okay how it looks, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter you know, it doesn't matter what the storyline of like how you work with yourself, because it's, working with yourself, it can be anything, it can look good, but it's not really good, Um, there was a story that came um, about a, a young woman who was 16, I think, and she had this plan of selling around the world, and in the story, she got to this water of just like being still, and it like consumed her in a way that, that made her see herself in a different perspective, and sometimes we don't see that, and so, Aries, so I just, um, want to say that, and I have some tea leaves and just gonna, you know, see what other spirit has for you, it's like, maybe you need to be vulnerable, and use your intuition and celebrate all the different times that come together, have the well here, great worries over this is great worry over nothing, and then you have the dog protect from protection from a powerful friend. So, maybe that's your message. So I'm just going to say, Aries, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to read your story like this. I really had fun. Um, we'll show you. This is the deck that I have created for myself to be able to do that. So I hope to have many more, and I hope it can stay in this shape because I enjoy it. So just want to say, Aries, thank you for allowing me to do your reading, and I just want to say, Hojana has clean, Hojana has clean, Hojana has clean. Ayaha.